is up, RetroManiacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I am from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And did you see that Ichiro missed out on a unanimous induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame by only one vote? Well, if there's anybody that can sympathize with him, it's us, right? Because we're probably not going to get unanimous induction into the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Heck, we're probably going to not even get in at all, right? Hell, we're probably not even going to get one vote, right? Hopefully we don't. Don't vote for us, because guess what? We don't want to be there, because no matter if you like us or you hate us, every Monday morning, I'm going to be here with these two guys. They are Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, boys?
It was a long road to get there. Yeah, that was a solid one take. It was so solid. I feel like we did it 5 times.
Unanimously, even.
We unanimously did that take. I'm doing great. After that, my poor Bloody Mary has been sitting here getting warm for that entire time. I made myself a Bloody Mary. EP, would you like a Bloody Mary as well?
Yeah, I think I will.
Ah, there we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Still rocking that Irish glass, I see.
Wow. I have coffee.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm responsible, unlike the two of you. This is why we don't get into the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. All the drinking you do on this show.
That's not allowed.
But this thing is, this is our first actual brunch type drink.
Yeah. I did Bloody Marys there for a couple of weeks because I had to get rid of that mix. But this is a homemade Bloody Mary with tomato juice and hot sauce and all those things. And the recipe I use from my favorite YouTube bartender, Greg from How to Drink, says a unit of Tabasco sauce on his app. I like Tabasco sauce. That's a big unit. Oh, foreshadowing Friday's show. No, that's a big hurt, isn't it? Big unit is not Frank Thompson.
I like the effort, though.
I tried so hard. But I put a lot of hot sauce in this. Long story short, and holy shit, is it hot? But I will persevere.
I did not put enough hot sauce, so there you go. This wasn't on a show sheet, but I'm glad you brought it up. The Ichiro thing, like, who doesn't vote for Ichiro to get into the Hall of Fame? Like, that person should not be allowed to vote ever again, right? Like, that is ridiculous.
The one guy that wants to be a troll and go, you know what? I'm going to do this so he doesn't get in unanimously. How about that?
Well done. It kind of reminds you of the professor who won't give anyone 100
a perfect grade.
He's like, there's always you always can improve, and it's like, no, if I got every answer right, that's a 100. So yeah, I kind of feel that way about this, but yeah, definitely someone trolling to get the clicks, as the kids say.
But that happens to us all the time. So
yeah. Who was the big unit?
Randy Johnson.
There it is. Damn it, EP. Or damn it,
Mike. Why hit the bird with the ball.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of hot sauce on that pitch. Yeah, that's right.
Why do people watch us?
I know. For this.
Nobody's watching now.
No, they love.
I can say unanimously as much as I want now. Nobody will care.
It was rough, folks. It was really rough. Yeah. I say this every
no joke.
time.
5 takes is no joke.
It was 5 takes.
I think it was more than 5.
I say this every time. This is the stuff they tune in for. Guaranteed. They are not skipping this part to get to the news, Mike. This is the
putting that to the test.
Week. Yes, absolutely.
So how's it going, boys? What's new and exciting up there, Joe Day?
Okay. Real quick complaint.
Okay.
Has anyone seen the USPS take so GD long as they have this last week and a half? I get the weather and all, but I was putting stuff in the mail, literally handed to the person at the counter. They scan it, and I go look at it on the app, and it's like delayed because of weather. I'm like, you just got it. How'd you know that? And I had a little fun with Ohio, calling it the worst state ever, because I ordered something that usually takes 2 days to get here. My Pro molds, they usually take like 2 days to get here from a town in Ohio, and they are a week later. They're still not here. They're on their way. They should be here Monday now, but if anyone's wondering why, that is why that this is still missing. So what can you do? I blame the USPS and I blame the worst state ever, Ohio. This is why my display is not complete. So I apologize on behalf of two of them.
Did you go to the post office and say, don't you know who I am?
I really should have. I thought about it. I was going to call the whole state of Ohio and be like, don't you know who I am? Like, get me
but
my
it's
promo.
Ohio, so they would have been like, no, you're not the guy who we know who you are.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, I experienced no issues with the.
I didn't even go there. I'm sorry. I stop, EP. I wasn't even thinking that. And Mike, I'm so glad you said that. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm a professional. How you doing, EP?
I'm doing good. I have no problems with USPS at all, or Prime deliveries or anything like that at all. So maybe it's just you, Joe.
It might be. F them. Are we deep enough in? No, I better not drop F bombs. All right. One other thing I do want to talk about. One thing I do want to talk about that's going to take a minute or two to talk about real quick is Cheers break. So I officially have ordered 2 cases of Rittenhouse Cheers. If you have not looked at the sell sheet, please do yourself a favor. Go to Rittenhouse's website, sci-fi hobby, I believe.com. Go and check out the Sears sell sheet. It is absolutely awesome. It's such a fun set. I ordered the 2 cases. They'll probably be here a couple of days after release day. The guy I order them from, ironically from Texas, and they get here super quick. So he'll have them for release day. So it'll probably take a couple of days to get here. One of the cases I'm going to open for myself. Absolutely. The other case, I would like to provide that to the viewers at cost to do a break on the channel. Real quickly, the rules of the break. It will be 12 spots. It will be draft style. We will randomize 1 through 12. I will open up all the boxes, and then whoever has picked one picks what box they want, and they would get all the contents of that box, which would include 2 autographs, a relic card, all the base inserts, as well as a complete base set. I'm going to hand collate all of the base cards and make sure you get a complete base set because it's a bigger set than most of the Rittenhouse one. So I might have to steal from here to put here. I might have to steal from my personal one to make sure you get one, but you'll get a complete base set. I am looking at the price of the box, the shipping and supplies, all of that stuff, a maximum of $135 a spot. Okay. Wow. To put into context, if you order it directly from Rittenhouse before shipping, it'd be $170 a box. And if you would order it from Dave and Adams on pre-order with shipping, because it's under their threshold for free shipping, it would be about $160 to $165 a box. So if you are interested, please contact me. Don't just comment below. Contact me, Joe Day 17821 on every social media, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky even, and joeday17821 at gmail.com. You can email me there directly. I really want to fill this up. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And you get an actual shot of getting some of the bigger hits where I think if you order from Dave and Adams, maybe not. So I think it's going to be a fun time. If you're interested, I'm going to limit it to 1 spot per person, unless we get to the point where we have a couple of spots left and I can't fill them and someone wants to pick up a second spot or whatever. So there it is. I'm going to bring it up every time. The release is February, the end of February. So probably a couple more shows. I'm going to at least bring up the contact part of it. But this one was just to tell you how the break's going to go.
And I'll put your info down in the comments, sir.
Yeah, you don't want to have everybody. You don't need them all to contact you on all the social medias, right?
No, just one. One will work. One will work.
Do all of them. Make sure.
Yeah, just do all of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do it like 5 times a day. He'll love that.
I'm fine. Hey, unlike some people here, I love to interact with folks online, so I would not have a problem with that.
Yeah,
but it should be a fun time. That set looks freaking awesome. Inscription autograph cards, Ted Danson autograph cards, autograph relic cards, all on card. It's a really, really cool set. So I'm excited.
I'm definitely in for a box.
Yeah.
Same here. I mean, an auto relic from that set would be crazy.
So we only have 10 left.
10 spots left.
Selling like hotcakes. However, hotcakes sell. How's it going, EP? What do you do this weekend?
I set up at a card show for the first time in a couple months, or at least a month. I think in November was the last time I set up at one. So there was a card show at the Susquehanna Valley Mall, and everybody's saying, "Where's your buddy? Where's Mike? You're here by yourself this week." I was like, "Yep, there's no Mike," because Mike spends a lot of time at the show.
Half the people there could not pay their rent because Mike did not show up. They're going to have to take out a loan.
There were several tables that had junk wax sitting prominently on the table, waiting for the guy that buys the junk wax to show up. And I'm guessing they probably they took that all home with them. I'm guessing. So
I feel badly now. I couldn't get there. How'd you do?
I did great. Like, for as much as I said they probably are still sitting there with it, I wouldn't be surprised if they sold a lot of it. I did see somebody walking around with like 1990 Upper Deck boxes that they had purchased for $25 a piece. So like there was hopping. I sent you guys a photo of the amount of people that were there. It was the busiest show, one of the busiest shows I've ever witnessed there, and probably the busiest show I've ever set up at there. There was just a constant stream of people, constantly people at my table. I didn't sell anything over $30. And I talked to a couple people, and they seem like the same thing. Like getting past $100 is like pretty tough. Only a couple, well, for the most part, a lot of like $20 stuff, $5 stuff, that sort of stuff. And I was like making deals with people to make sure to sell, and they like doing this, and I take like $5 off, and they'd be like, okay, we'll do it. And or what if I take this one too? I was like, okay, I'll do that too. So just a lot of that kind of stuff. I ended up making $267 profit, which is really good compared to my last show where I barely made the table fees. Like, this is way better than that. And it was great. I had a lot of fun. At the very end of the show, I wanted to kind of leave early. I had something I needed to do personally, but I'm not going to shut down my table if people are still looking through stuff. And some people at the very, very end, a couple, a man and a woman, came in and they started going through my dime box, and they literally went through every single card in my dime box, every single card. They each pulled out 10 cards each. They were like taking cards, putting them back so that they wouldn't or whatever. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. So it'd be like $2, right? Because it was 10 cents, 10 times 10. And so they come up, but then they start seeing my 3 for $5 box. Then they see my $1 box, and they said, these are only $1. Like, and these are only 50 cents. So they went through and they ended up spending like $60 total.
Oh, okay.
They bought my one slab. They bought one of my only slab graded card that I sold was a $20 card, like a 1955 Topps card. And so it was like it was a PSA 2. But the woman had just got a Mickey Mantle from the same set, and she's like, you know what, I want to get this one too. And she said her Mantle was probably a PSA 1 if she gets it graded. I was like, that's still worth grading and having a grade and having in hand. But yeah, so it was an awesome interaction for the very end of the show. Like, there might have been 10 people still set up at that point. But it was a really cool interaction at the end of the show with a decent amount of money. So it was just it was an incredibly fun show and a perfect way to like cap off the show, I thought.
I was waiting for the story to go. Yeah, they came up and spent $2 and then or $2 for the cards and offered me $1, and they made me stay there for like an extra hour when I had some personal stuff to do after the show. That's where I thought it was going.
I thought it was going there, but then they saw their stuff and they're like, well, they saw that I had like a bunch of non-sports stuff for $1 and non-sports stuff for 50 cents. They're like, okay, and they started going through that, and they pulled out a bunch of like the Panini Americana. I think American Pie, whichever one the Panini one is of that kind of thing. And they started just pulling a bunch of those like horse cards.
Non-sports. Did you ever get that like 3,200 count box worth of non-sports I dropped off at Mike Jones's house?
I did. I have not yet. My plan was to do that last weekend, and I just have not had a chance to. So,
all right.
Yes, I will.
Mike Jones's eBay store is stacked right now,
with some random junk wax DC and Marvel cards for sure. Yeah, it must have been busy, EP, though, because I did say to you, can you go around and see if there are any Star Trek cards? And I got no response for that. So you must have been bumping.
Oh, I did. I want to run and check. There's none. That's
none?
Not true.
Okay.
That's not true, but I'm guessing there was none.
Wow.
Well,
if anybody, Troy would have them, probably, right? And
Troy stuff's too expensive, though.
Yeah,
he has all the really good stuff.
He does.
Yeah, he has the good stuff.
I love looking at it, but I feel badly because I can't afford to buy it. Yeah, well, sounds like I missed a good show. When I'm in the middle of doing a stack sale and like I've sold stuff and now I have to ship everything and I have tons of stuff to ship out. The idea of going and buying more cards, just like it's like you already ate a whole pizza and somebody brings you another pizza that you like, but
what if it's a really good pizza, Mike? Like,
I know. I thought about it. I
think good price.
I think in this case, though, part of the issue is also you need the space probably because you're like those packs of cards that you showed us, like the photo of the packs of cards that you have. Like you need to get rid of this stuff first before you can think about doing anything
My
else.
dining room will not be used as a dining room for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. So.
That's why I'm saying you need to buy Amy something as a thank you for dealing with that. Come on. Amy, do you watch the show? Probably not. I would say.
Just watch a show. Why should I buy her something? Well, I didn't have to buy these because viewer Paul Ellison was nice enough to send not just me, but also the 2 of you little gifts in the mail. Look at that. EP. Joe, the one I had actually said Mike. So
okay.
I think it's Joe Day.
Yeah, is that for me?
Yeah, how about
or is
that?
it for another Joe? Because I'm Joe Day. I really don't. Yeah.
In the email, it said for Joe Day. So
okay.
All right. Mine. Look at that Bulldog card.
Nice. That's awesome.
So awesome. I got that. We got Mark Henry.
World's Strongest Man.
We've got. Can you see? There it is. Oh,
yeah, Shazam.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't think you were going to be able to see that one, and then I put it up in front of me, and I'm like, "Wow, look at that!"
No, that's from Series 2, where it's like almost like 3D style. I love him.
Yeah.
The Surfer.
Oh, wow, love that one.
Oh nope, over here. There he is.
Also, some power decks.
Dude. Awesome.
Another Steve Eiserman and Gordie Howe.
Nice.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Did you get your CD-ROM out to see if they work?
I didn't. Wow. I'll have to try that. So awesome stuff. Thank you very much. Do you guys want me to open yours?
Yes.
I'd be cool with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Who gets to go first? You gonna flip a T and see who goes first, or
EP? You can go first.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
EP. Okay. Well, see if I can get. Oh.
Could you save the bubble mailer? I'd like to reuse that, please.
There we go. These are nice too.
Yeah, those are the ones I use. I love those bubble mailers. Double bubble. Oh my god.
The double bubble.
Double bubble. I love free supplies. You could just give me those, Paul.
Now, if I like any of these cards better, or I like them at all, I'll just keep them.
I mean, that's on brand. That is a very Mike thing to do.
I'm doing all the work here.
There's got to be a tax, right? There's got to be a fee.
He's opening up gifts on Christmas for other people. He's like, I'm just gonna get your gift.
I'm like a breaker, but for
yeah.
Dude.
Tiki Barber. Oh,
we might see that on a Friday show. Fantastic.
That's definitely going on a Friday show. Oh, yes. Oh, Tiki Barber, baby.
Oh my god, that's 4 weeks worth of shows right there.
Oh yes.
Look at all those.
I'll Tiki all the time.
Way
awesome.
too many.
Fantastic. Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah, it's great.
Set for 3 cards for a while now.
Yeah, yes. Jesus.
There's 2 more little tea bags full here though.
Paul.
Oh wow.
Cool.
I don't think I have that one actually.
And 2 more.
Oh my gosh.
Sanders.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oops.
Oh, well,
sorry,
they were PSA 10.
You had 3. Now you have 2.
2.5.
And it's underneath me, so I don't know what to do with it.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank God they were top loaded.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Burris X Factor? Wow. Jeez. Barry Sanders.
Sports Flicks.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I actually have that
cool.
one, EP.
Very cool. What's that?
I think I might actually have that one.
And
unlicensed 1999 rookie of Barry Sanders. Okay. All right. It's got an American flag. I can get behind it.
There you go.
That's awesome. Very cool. Thanks, Paul. That was awesome. That's awesome.
I said that at the same time. Okay.
That is 3 cards. EP, you're set. Just put that stack next to you.
Right.
For the next, you'll be set. You're good.
Oh
my, I can't. Please, this is the best part of this entire video. Please fall. Please fall.
I'm not falling. I'm not falling. And I didn't mangle the card. I thought I did because my chair was very close to going over top of it. All right, Joe.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Again, why do people watch us?
I don't know. I love
They're
it.
They're not anymore.
Oh, they totally are. They'll shut us off when we start talking
There's
news.
There's a white envelope there.
Oh.
So this will be interesting.
I
have so much stuff laying around here now. All right. Whoa.
I love it. What do we got cooking there?
We have Star Trek the card game booster pack.
Oh yeah.
And Fantasy Trade Card Company presents Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
That's my favorite one. Star Trek 4 is my favorite movie. It's the most rewatchable. Fight me in the comments. It is
nobody in the comments is gonna care, Joe.
Yeah, there's several. Little Jeff Wilson will care. You know he will.
There's Mike poking the Star Trek fans.
Don't even.
And Fantasy Trade Card Company, Star Trek 3.
Search for Spock.
So there you go.
Those are going to be open on the channel. Thank you, Paul.
Awesome.
Those are awesome. Yes.
That is awesome.
I am pumped. Easter.
I'll
get them on Easter. I'll get them on Easter.
Okay. Get some of this stuff out of my way here. All right. Big thanks out to Paul for those.
Thanks, boys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Is that the end of the podcast?
I thought that was the end of the show. All right.
No, maybe.
We'll talk
All right. Well, let's get into it because there is a pretty big news story this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys follow baseball cards at all, but the Paul Skened 1/1 MLB debut patch auto has finally been pulled. This card is estimated to be like $500,000 or maybe even more. It was pulled by an 11-year-old at Christmas time in Los Angeles. Joe, just hold on. I'll get 11-year-old at Christmas time. PSA had shared this week that they graded the card and it came back at 10 with a 10 auto. Topps was doing an awful lot of tweeting about pretty much all the information other than PSA showing the card being graded has come through Topps and through their social media accounts. This is a really cool thing. An 11-year-old, an actual collector, got a card that people want. But of course, because the hobby is like the hobby, and we have people like Joe Day around, there's a lot of drama going on currently, especially on social media, some of the YouTube content. There are people out there that aren't believing the story.
I was going to ask you to do that.
Wow. Oh, gosh, how am I supposed to work with this going on? But yes, there are people out there that are doubting the authenticity of the story. Now, Topps shared a journal entry from the 11-year-old where he talked about it. I've seen people out there going, what 11-year-old keeps a journal? Well, there are kids out there that for school have to do that. I'm going to just say up front here before I let Joe talk that if I had an 11-year-old that pulled a card, I don't think I'm going to have him all over social media with the card either. I don't want people to know. There are people like, oh, you would get a winning lottery ticket and not cash it in. Yeah, there are people that do that. Like they like to try to keep their anonymity because there are a lot of weird people in the world. I don't think that the fact that they haven't come out and been flaunting the fact that they pulled this card is any kind of red flag. I know it makes for really good conspiracy theory fodder out there, but I feel like this is legit. We complain all the time when the breakers get all the big cards. And then there's finally a story out there, which the conspiracy people go, well, isn't this convenient that that's the way it worked? But a collector pulled the card, got the box for Christmas. I don't think that's odd that maybe you would get a box for Christmas. I am going to say I am fully in the camp of I believe that this is a legitimate story. Now, Joe, you had the conspiracy hat on, but you took it off. So what are your thoughts on this?
He's changed his mind, everybody.
I haven't changed my mind at all. That hat's just heavy. I absolutely 100% believe that this is 100% true. Stop being douchebags. It's a 11-year-old pulled a cool card. Come on. Like, why? This is, people are the worst. People are the worst. Anyone who sees this and thinks there's this mass conspiracy, you need to get a fucking life. You just need to get a life. I'm sorry. It makes like there are plenty of conspiracies about this card that I have. This is not one of them. And of course, if I was this kid's parents, and Mike, you're underselling the card. People made fun of the Pirates deal, which was valued at around $750,000 or something like that. People are saying, "Oh, what a terrible offer by the Pirates." People are still making that claim, which whatever. So some people think it's like a $1.5 million card. So if I had an 11-year-old son and he pulled that card, I wouldn't want him anywhere near social media because guess what? People are fucking crazy. They're crazy.
That's so true.
I wouldn't want my son's friends to know. I wouldn't want my son's friends' parents to know. I wouldn't want anyone to know. And yes, people often claim their lottery winnings with masks on because they don't want people to know who they are. So if you are one of those conspiracy theory people, let's have a conversation about the world being flat and if we actually went to the moon, because this is just stupid. Stop being an asshole.
Yeah, conspiracies don't happen like that. Like there are not a bazillion conspiracies out there. If they were, that'd just be how things are. Like conspiracies, like what makes them interesting is that they are so rare that they're actually able to be pulled off.
Less
like,
now, though.
I mean,
in the world we live in, less and less now, for sure.
Sure. But the bottom line is, I feel like this is what's happening. Like, I agree with you guys 100% that the family is protecting this kid, the family's protecting themselves. Like, could you imagine they just don't want to have to deal with this kind of stuff. Like we do at the paper. We do this with victims of certain crimes. Like we don't use their names. We don't use even their age or where they live or whatever. We try not to identify them in any way because of the magnitude of the crime. So, and this is a similar thing where the family just being smart about it. And like I said, lottery winners sometimes form corporations. So the corporation cashes the ticket and they don't have to, their name's not attached to it because you don't want people to know you're getting, like, again, Joe, I heard the same thing, like $1 million for this card. Like that's so much money. And one of the other takes from this is I'd like to think that if I was a kid and I could get $1 million for that card, even though if I was the biggest Skenes fan of the world and I lived in Pittsburgh, that I would sell that card because think of all the other Skenes cards you can get, all the other things you can do with that $1 million. Like it seems to me like something where like I believe 100% the story. 11-year-old kid pulled it and they're selling it because it's a lot of money. Like it's a ridiculous amount of money, life-changing money.
Yeah, and like people on social media don't understand there is a world outside of there that not everything has to take place on there. Like the people that are like, oh, well, why haven't they even shown a picture of it? Like, why do they have to? They don't. If I pulled it and I didn't want people to know, you wouldn't know. Like, you don't have to go out and say, oh, look at me, I got this card, and then all of a sudden people know who you are and you have everybody calling trying to get it, making offers, trying to get a hold of you, all kinds of press, like just would be a huge headache. And the fact that Topps has been handling everything, I can totally understand. These people probably got in touch with them, told them we don't want like all this publicity, and Topps is like, you know what, we'll take care of this for you. These are your options. You can sell it with us, blah, 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 blah. We'll get it graded. Like, I almost have to applaud Topps here for being able to do this for people because it shouldn't. I know.
Sometimes you're showing restraint is enough.
You're doing a great thing. But I mean, it should be done by anybody. Like, if somebody wants confidentiality, it's not your right to say who pulled this card. Like, not even to know. I've seen people complaining, well, they let people keep buying this stuff after it was pulled. Well, do they ever announce when redemptions are hit? Like, unless the person says it themselves? Like, I don't know.
I will say I kind of agree with that point a little bit. Like, if this was pulled on Christmas, it's been about a month. Like, you can just say it's pulled without saying who pulled it. I mean, from a business perspective, absolutely don't do that, right? Like, David Adams does not want to hear you telling people that this card was pulled, and some at Steel City doesn't want you to tell people it was pulled either because they want to keep selling product. So I get it. It's kind of like the whole thing we talk about with the Luca out of one from Prism. Like, someone could have that and just have cases of that year's worth of Prism, and they don't want you to know that they already pulled that card. So I get from that perspective, but Topps has first off, they have no legal obligation to tell anyone anything. And I agree that they shouldn't tell you anything about the person who pulled it at all. That's the one where I'm like 100% behind Topps saying nothing about the actual person who pulled it. I get where people are coming from, where people are putting money going after that chase, trying for the last month to get that chase when it was impossible. I mean, it was impossible anyway. Let's put. I will caveat this.
Buying didn't have it in it anyway. So
right.
They weren't going to get it. It's really at the end of the day.
Right. You're not
going to get it.
It's a one of a kind card, literally in this case, not like usual 1-of-1s are, but like it's an actual 1-of-1 card. So the odds of you getting it is like winning the lottery. So chances are you weren't getting it anyway. I can at least empathize with that point a little bit.
It's it's only mid-January right now, right? Isn't it mid-ish January? Mm-hmm. And like, so we're only talking like a couple weeks after that. Like in my opinion,
it's literally a month. It's January 26th, so it's a month after Christmas.
So I mean, like they pull the card, they send in the redemption. Like if I'm Topps, I'm gonna wait till they get the redemption back. I don't want to make the announcement. Like I'm waiting till they get it. Then I'm saying, hey, listen, do you guys want to be part of a PR campaign? That sort of thing. And then maybe they declined it at that point. But I feel like that is probably how that all happened, and that's why now that there's
it wasn't mailed in, it was claimed online. I mean, it probably took 30 seconds to claim it. I mean,
sure, but I mean, claim it, but then also you wait until it is in the person's hand before you can get a photo of them holding the card up. If you want to get a photo of them holding it up, so I feel like that there's some lead time. There's only been a month. It's not like they waited 6 months to do it or something like that. They have, I
mean, that's a pretty low
reason.
Admittedly, that's a pretty low bar. I mean, we're going to be talking about Topps 4Xing the hobby here pretty soon. This is part of the way you do it. I mean, they're going to be selling a lot of boxes of Topps products have been sold with the thought that maybe I could pull that card. But again, Mike, I agree with you. You weren't pulling it anyway because it's a one in how many packs card.
No, it wasn't in the box that they were opening.
Right.
It just wasn't. So.
It wasn't ever going to be. Right. Yeah. But people may have bought it thinking it was, because we talked about people being dumb a couple of weeks ago, right? We got a lot of viewers because of that. People being dumb, opening up wax, thinking they can get something they probably can't. Kind of bear that out here, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Just going back quick, one last second to the protecting the family kind of thing. And like, could you guys imagine if that kid had that photo of himself with holding the card or whatever, and then sold it or then kept it? Could you imagine the responses, the Twitter responses? You called them effing crazy, Joe. Could you imagine the responses from the people? Like they would be the worst kinds of people in the world. In that,
I would call. Mike, you're in childcare. What's children and youth? I would call children and youth on the parents if they let that kid do that. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like the best thing the parents did was protect their 11-year-old. I mean, people are crazy online, not just like crazy. Like, let me make this conspiracy theory. Like crazy, like trying to steal the card. Crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, I would not. There's a lot of terrible people out there
screaming at a little kid. Well, you're not a real collector. What are you doing selling that card?
Right.
Like, come on, it's a 11-year-old kid.
Right.
I guarantee you, if
everyone would have sold the card.
If there was a picture posted, there would be comments that if the kid read it, it would make him feel awful. So,
Yep.
Like, why would you subject a child to that?
Right. And isn't that one of the things they always talk about? Like, social media is terrible for children because they read all the comments and it really shapes their kind of look at the world and look at themselves. And again, EP, you were talking about how conspiracies are like these one in a, lifetime type of, like, did we actually walk on the moon? With social media, it's kind of all the time now. Like everything on any side of any issue could be a conspiracy theory, and they make their way on social media. So kudos to the parents for sure. Topps a little less, but kudos to the parents 100%.
And they kept the kid from seeing Ken Goldin complaining about the fact that he was never contacted with an opportunity to sell the card. It went right to Fanatics Collect. So, yeah, Ken Goldin actually responded to Card Purchaser, I believe it was, on Twitter, and was talking about how, I never even got a chance to offer them anything to sell the card. Like, too bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. Got his name out there, so.
Yeah. I think Goldin was actually responding to people who were like, where was Ken Goldin at? Like, people were tagging him in that thread I saw, and it was like, at Goldin, guess you missed out on this one. At Goldin, where were you at with this? Like, people were baiting Ken Goldin. He takes the bait a lot of the time. I will say, number one, I 100% would have done what this family did and just went with Topps. I don't want this card anywhere near me. I don't want this card like in the mail. I don't want this card moving from the facility. So if it was me that pulled it, I 100% would have done the same thing and would have gone with Fanatics. I also don't like to take sides when two very rich people are complaining at each other because there's no winners. I hate both Michael Rubin and Ken Goldin. So like it's equally, I mean, probably Rubin a little bit more because he runs the world, but I hate having to take a side with rich people. But what I will say is I can have two thoughts in my head. One, Ken Goldin is 100% right. He is never going to get opportunities with cards like this. He's just not. But I can also not give a shit, right? Like, he's 100% right, salty or not. He's 100% right. He's never going to get opportunities like at cards like this. To the point where I put my conspiracy theory hat on when I make prognostications about Fanatics doing things. But at this point, I think I've been right on all of them. So I would not be shocked if cards like this are no longer in packs. Like, this card wasn't in a pack. This was a redemption. I would not be surprised if Topps and Fanatics start putting product hit type cards in sets and they're all redemptions. Because that way they can say, oh, well, the card will be in pristine condition. We can get it off to PSA for a 10-10. And we can handle the sale for you. You don't even have to deal with it. If I was Ken Goldin, thank God I'm not, but if I was Ken Goldin, I would be a little nervous about Topps controlling how these cards get out into the universe on the back end of it. So, and one last point before EP talks about how this is great because Topps is amazing. I will give Topps and Fanatics one big thumbs up on this. All of their proceeds from this sale will be going to the wildfires in LA. They did post that. So kudos to them. They're not taking any profit on this. They will in the next one. They'll be fine. They will definitely on the next one.
So that there are parts of this hobby that are really like gross, right? Like this, like this whole thing with like, well, first off, of course, Rubin said this. Like we were texting about this, like when we first heard about it. Of course, Ken Goldin said, I misspoke there. Of course, Ken Goldin would say this because he wants, he's like, oh, I can't believe I didn't think of this myself. He's jealous. He's jealous of not being able to do it. But also, I would love to see a feud, like a bubbling feud between these two powerhouses that are kind of our hobby. I think it would be all equal parts gross and also fun for people watching. And my last note here is, what if Joe was Ken Goldin? What then what? So what would you do
if I was Ken Goldin? Oh, you mean like going?
You said I'm not. You said I'm not Ken Goldin, thank God or whatever. But what if you were?
Yeah. If I was in this situation,
in all situations,
just
if you were,
I would. I don't know. Imagine me on Netflix. That would be great. That would be great.
Well, you're already on YouTube.
I am on YouTube. We're practically there. I actually recently canceled my Netflix subscription. But to your point though, EP, I will say Ken Goldin is jealous, but just as any of us would be jealous not being Michael Rubin owning everything, right? Like he didn't think of it first is kind of a weak argument because he could have thought of it first, but he doesn't have the licenses. He doesn't have
the money to do it.
The money. He doesn't have it. Like, I could think of anything. Oh, I could rebuild the Cleveland Browns. Well, I don't have the money to buy them. What's it matter? So it's kind of a moot point, but he does have, again, I can have two things in my head at the same time. He's 100% right. But again, I don't give a shit. Like, Ken Goldin's a super rich guy. Michael Rubin's a super rich guy. I really don't care what happens to either one of them.
All right. Well, speaking of Michael Rubin being really rich, the numbers for 2024 for Topps came out. Topps had $1.6 billion in revenue in 2024. They were at 368 million in 2020, and the 1.6 billion is actually at 40% over 2023. So their profit margins are about 20% for Topps, which is the highest category they have in the whole Fanatics company. I see people out there talking about them forexing the hobby already, because this is like 4 times more revenue, even though these people seem to kind of forget that Topps revenue doesn't represent Leaf and Panini, who has a lot of revenue too, I would imagine. They haven't 4X'd the hobby. Let me just get this out of the way. Stop saying that. How can you be a YouTube content creator and say they 4X'd the hobby when they only have baseball and a couple other properties? They don't have football yet. They don't have basketball. They didn't raise the Panini profits and revenue. They just did their own. Just stop with that dumb crap. But back to it, I digress. It's almost like if you just raise the prices on everything every year, you can make more money. You keep your costs around the same, and then you raise the price on everything that used to be cheaper, and then you'll make more money. Am I crazy here? Did I just stumble onto like a rocket science theory here that I could take now and go into the world and make a lot of money? Joe?
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
I do. Or do we want me to go first?
EP?
Doesn't matter to me. Whatever. I'm cool with whatever.
No. All I'm going to do.
How did Topps make so much money? That's all
I'm going to do is read a couple quotes.
Sorry.
I'm going to read a couple quotes from you. So I went back and I did some research. You know, I love to do it. You know, I love to watch some of our old shows, right? I went back to episode 1 where we talked about Michael Rubin, did the interview with Bill Simmons. Watch that one the whole way through. Go back and watch that. It's a pretty good show. But I actually then put in the search 10X because Mike, you named things very well. We did a whole Wednesday show on October 12th of 2022. A whole Wednesday show. Only has 79 views. Go back and watch that one. Pin comment here somewhere or something. Where we talked about, can Michael Rubin actually 10X the hobby? So I took 3 quotes, one from each of us. Mike, you very astutely, I think you were still cautiously optimistic, but you very astutely said, maybe the whole plan is to raise prices 10X. Huh. That sounds...
You might be right.
You might be right. EP, very on brand. They probably need to be reasonably priced. Oh. So cute. So cute. I said, this is a little bit longer a quote because I am long-winded.
No.
I know. I want him to define what he means by 10X. I honestly don't think he means 10 times the amount of people, but he does mean 10 times the amount of profit. He couldn't care less how many people are in the hobby. He just cares about the bottom line. Period.
So we were all right in our own way.
Yeah. I mean, EP was right that he should keep things
right.
Yeah.
You know, to 10X the actual humans that take part in this hobby. But you were wrong in that they were going to keep those prices low. Because I think even you at this point have to admit that is not part of the plan.
No, definitely not. No, absolutely not. No. I want everybody in the comments right now. How many times have you gone back and rewatched episode 1 when Joe says go back and rewatch episode 1? If you have gone back and rewatched it, please let us know in the comments.
Actually, that's actually kind of fun.
Yeah. How many times? So I mean this back, many years ago, people thought the universe revolved around the Earth, and so these people that are saying, oh well, Topps already 4X everything, is because they want to get the Topps products. They want to be in the Topps pocket. They want to be good best buds with Topps. They
want a big league card.
In that theory, and so yes, so in that universe, we've already 4X'd it. We're already there, baby. You guys are doing it. So that's what kind of where we are with this whole thing, in my opinion. Like they believe they're already in it because they don't care about those other ones. All they care about is Topps and Fanatics because they can't get their products from anybody else. So they're already kissing butt.
I watched the first WWE Raw on Netflix.
What happened on that one that I enjoyed? Okay, that's
we're not
another
talking
story.
about that. But when I was watching that, they said about how this was the highest grossing arena event that WWE had ever had. And all the fans cheered. And I was like, all these people are cheering for the fact that they paid more money than everybody else has been going to this. So now, fast forward to Fanatics, showing that their profit is up. And I see content creators talking about, oh, they're 4Xing the hobby already, not realizing that if you have the same number of people in the hobby and they 4X'd it, they just took 4 times the amount of money from you that you used to have to pay for the same thing. Like, let's get this through our head. 10Xing the revenue overall in the hobby isn't really 10Xing the hobby. You're 10Xing the revenue of the hobby. You're not growing the hobby, and that's not really something that will be sustainable, especially with it being, so much of it being built on a gambling aspect, a lottery aspect. You can only do that so much before it has an impact on your life, and you realize, I have to cut back on this. I have to stop. So I am really worried about the fact that now we know it's clearly their plan is just to increase revenue, and they'll easily 10x their revenue because they're going to be adding 2 new licenses and like basically adding Panini's revenue to theirs, and then they're going to be touting, we were only 300 and so million in 2020 and now we're at like 5 billion. It's like, no shit, because you're paying how much for these licenses.
Right.
But that is not a good thing for us, the people in the hobby. They are just going to continue to rape us of all of the money that we have for as long as they can. This is why they have Topps Chrome football unlicensed, Topps Chrome basketball, Topps Mercury. You're adding all this stuff, and those products don't cost them a ton because they're not even licensed, and they're making a ton of money on it. We're probably not going to get to it today, but we talked about Topps Chrome football. $320 a box. What? For unlicensed stuff. Oh, I wonder how they're going to 10x the hobby.
And I wonder how much it's going to be when it is licensed, Mike. Like, if it's $320 now,
exactly,
it's going to be $499.99 out the door, guaranteed, if not
just
more.
Like the WWE fans, we have people here in the hobby celebrating 4Xing it when all they're doing is taking more money out of your pocket.
What is it with people from Ohio? Anyway, I will say that is a great analogy about the arena, because I was kind of thinking along the same lines of when people say, oh, this is the highest grossing movie. Well, when you're comparing it to something that came out when tickets were 50 cents a piece, I don't give a shit how high grossing this movie is. It's all inflation. It's all raising the prices, right? So really, really good point on that. And honestly, you're right. The problem is you're saying they're going to rape us of all of our money. It's 100% true because we let them. No one's not buying this stuff. That's the biggest problem. And they see that. And we're going to talk about someone who maybe ruined their life because of the hobby. And you just keep doing it. You just keep buying. We love Silver Sport. We love Ed and Chuck. But Ed, I think, kind of seriously said, I need to sell. He pulled a $500 Caleb Williams. He's a huge Bears fan. But he's like, I need to sell this card to keep the channel going. I don't think he's 100% joking there. I think a lot of it, because of how expensive things are, you need to keep an eye on that. And it's just, I mean, I was talking about we just talked about a Cheers product, a really, really cool non-sports product. I'm $130 a box. Give me Rittenhouse all day. Let Rittenhouse run the world. Like, what is going on here? Like, Topps is not the company I want running the hobby. But I actually feel bad saying Topps. Fanatics is not the company I want running the hobby. It's not Topps. Topps was not like this before. This is Fanatics.
This conversation has really got me scared about this hobby and Fanatics in like 5 years.
I
10
finally
years.
got you there, EP.
I mean,
got you there.
yeah. I mean, I try to be cautiously optimistic, but you think about like I forget the analogy. Like someone tried to explain the difference between $1 million and $1 billion, but like it's astronomical. Like visualizing it, like to think about the amount of money. So they went from 368 million to 1.6 billion. Then when they get football, I think it's basketball first. Basketball next year, maybe they see it grow. Maybe they double that, and then football, maybe they double that again. But then what happens after that? Like I realize like they can't raise the prices enough to get to another 3 point whatever billion. Like that, I mean, like it would be ridiculous. So what happens to investors and their thoughts on the company when they don't have that big of a bump from getting that first license? Then they get the basketball and the football. They're not going to be able to match those billions of dollars of profit or of revenue in the future unless the boxes would have to go like to the moon. Every single box would have to go to the moon. So then what happens?
And adding high-end products.
Stuff.
And adding there's not going to just be one Mercury. Let's be fair. They're going to have their flawless equivalent, their national treasures equivalent. They're going to have some super high-end stuff. It's not just going to be expensive boxes of Topps Chrome, which used to be like, it was just awesome to open up a box of Topps Chrome for $100 back in 1999. Okay, that's $500. That's like the benchmark now. That's the low end. Now you're going to be talking about sets that are the Immaculates, the treasures, and the flawless. I mean, to the moon with some of these products. They're going to keep people like you around, EP, that like just to open up stuff and build sets. They're always going to have that flagship type stuff, but they're going to introduce more and more high-end gambling type products. That's how they're going to keep those profits up.
Well,
this was doom and gloom. Jesus, this is terrible. What is happening?
Not a great week of news. Yeah. Speaking of making money, Ken Goldin, we talked about him a little while ago. Ken Goldin and Goldin Auctions are going to be selling a box of 2,000 Pokemon Chinese First Edition. Now, probably not unusual, but the unusual thing is they are actually promoting the fact that this box was CT scanned for authenticity. It was sent away to, what is the name of that company? Industrial Inspection in wherever that was. I forget where it is. Sorry about that. If you remember, let me know in the comments. But this is the company we've talked about that does the CT scanning. They claim that only the authenticity of the box was looked at, that they don't know any of the contents. Okay, this is an interesting discussion, because now for the first time we have somebody selling something saying this was CT scanned, but only for authenticity. Actually sounds like a good thing. Like, it is a good thing if it can be used for that. But at the same time, I'm uncomfortable with the trust me, bro, it was just for authenticity.
Right.
So, because this is the hobby, we know how people are. We know, I'm sorry to Ken Goldin, but Ken Goldin has a past where people have seen that things have happened with companies he owned before, allegedly. And I don't know. Like, while I see this as something good, if you can know what is supposed to be in there is in there, I like that. But at the same time, I'm never going to trust them to say, trust us. We only looked at that. How do we know? Give us proof. There has to be some kind of way that we know for sure. And there isn't. I don't know how you only find out the authenticity. Am I wrong here? Like, I don't feel good about this.
You're 100% right. But I will say, Jake Paul is like, man, where was the CT scanning technology a few years ago?
True, yeah.
Right? Like, when we started talking about this CT scanning stuff, when Ziggy actually brought, I give him credit every time. When Ziggy brought this to our attention, God, it feels like a year ago now. I don't know how long it's actually been. But when I talked about seeing CT scanning on the Golden Touch, ironically, I'm like, in theory, I like this. They were proving, I think it was an iPhone, like an OG iPhone, right? In theory, I like this. You're guaranteeing, because in a lot of cases, let's say Logan Paul, was it Logan or Jake? I think it was Logan Paul opened up that. Logan. let's just say for the sake of argument, he just left that sealed. And in his mind, it's Pokemon 100%, right? We only know that it's not because he opened it up and it's G.I. Joe. So how many bad actors could get away with stuff if people aren't going to open up a sealed case of something, right? So in theory, I really, really like this. But ... The hobby's a hobby and people are terrible, right? So if it is, and there's some provable way to say I didn't look at it, because let's be honest, I don't know what the cards are, but I'm going to say, let's say it's the equivalent of the 1999 first edition, whatever. So I kind of know a little bit about that, right? Let's say he saw that there was a Charizard in there, or a bunch of them, maybe it was a Charizard hot box, right? Or a hot case. And he saw that, he would have probably opened it up, right? Like he wasn't going to auction it off. He probably would have opened it up and graded all those Charizards, bought it himself or whatever. Like there are just too many people in the hobby looking for that angle, and this helps them a little too much getting another angle. And I said this last night when we were texting about Ken Goldin. He's always looking for the angles. This is another instance where I like it in theory, but in practice, it really does make me nervous.
Yep, I agree with you guys 100%. You know, it is a good thing for the hobby, Mike, like you said, and Joe. It's a potential problem. It's a big potential problem in my opinion. So I think about it in terms of almost like Oppenheimer, the movie that came out a few years ago, like the nuclear bomb. Like they are normalizing this thing that has kind of been in the, kind of hidden in the background. Like nobody has like they've seen the scans in the videos and that sort of stuff, but nobody's like using it and then promoting it as something as a good thing or anything like that. Once you start promoting it as a good thing, then it starts to become normalized, and I could totally see this becoming a normalized thing, and people saying, "Oh, well, if a Goldin is CT scanning, then we can CT scan too." And next thing you know, it becomes a normalized thing and becomes good. My one really big question with this is, how many people were in that room when it was scanned? And are they going to be like, okay, well, I saw the 3 Charizards, so I mean, so they're going to be the ones bidding on it, or they saw there are no Charizards, they're not going to bid on it. Like, so
or they tell a friend of theirs, a big whale,
right.
Hey, this is a great case. You should really bid on this.
Yeah, so like,
and they could be lying too. They could absolutely be lying and saying it's a great case. Bid on this because they know their big whale doesn't open up stuff. They just want to keep it sealed because that's cool. One last point I want to make about Pokemon: is it just me, or does Pokemon both like there's this almost sort of innocence to it, but then there's also like the most shadiness? People weigh Pokemon packs. Like that's a thing that's on the regular. Yeah. They sell them specifically as weight, and this is not new. We've known about this for a while. Heavy packs are a thing that go on eBay. It's wild to me. Could you imagine? I mean, we threw people under the bus during the pandemic for taking retail football and putting it on scales. Pokemon just does it right out in the open. They don't care. So it's kind of wild to me that Pokemon just kind of gets a pass for doing stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, to your point, EP, who was in that room? Who knows what actually is in that box?
There is a lot of shadiness in Pokemon, and there are content creators. That Rattle Pokemon covers a lot of it and stuff. I think it's more so it's not our world, so we might not be aware of it because there is a lot of content. I know I've seen of his. This was interesting. Topps just this week released a picture of the Bowman Draft 1/1 relic autographs that had pieces of the actual ping pong ball from the draft lottery for the players. They were redemptions in Bowman Draft. The thing that was interesting about it was Bowman Draft came out a while ago. Like now they're just promoting this. I hadn't seen, I don't rip Bowman Draft. I don't watch breaks of it. So I probably was just out of the loop, but like interesting that they're promoting it like a month or how long it is after the product came out. I thought it was a little weird. I mean, cool looking card has looks like maybe half of the ping pong ball, or maybe a little less than half on it. I don't know.
That's at least a 360 point sucker, right?
Yeah. But looks huge. I just thought it was a little weird that they started promoting it this week.
I think it's a little bit weird, but I mean, maybe not. And like Bowman Draft is going to get people are going to buy that. Like people go bananas for Bowman Draft no matter what. So maybe they're trying to give themselves a little bit extra boost, like later, like maybe after some other product has come out or something like that. They're just going to give a little bit of extra boost, or maybe they hadn't designed the card yet, and they were trying to figure out how the heck are we going to fit a ping pong ball into this card and make it not, but
Is
not
it a
break or not
redemption?
be whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
It's
sure
a
it has to,
redemption. Yeah.
it has to be.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that might have been part of it too. Like I mean, there are some possible things there, but I will agree. It is kind of weird. Like that would be something that I would think that for as much as people love Bowman Draft, that would have sold way more at launch. So I wonder if there was something there with like the design or whatever. Like I could see like the person's design. Like I need more time. I can't. You're trying to make me put a ping pong ball in this thing and get to go run
Gary,
through
we need it done by Tuesday. I'm
Right.
not done with it.
You want a ping pong ball to run through the press, like what,
Yeah.
like and print stuff on it. And what are you guys doing to me?
EP, I think you did crack the code just now. I think they didn't have it designed yet. I think the card were not produced yet. Since it was a redemption product, they can show the redemption card or someone can pull the redemption card and you're not actually seeing the card. I think they finally did. Barry did crack the code, Mike. Right. So
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. And it's a really, really cool card. I really like that design. And you could actually probably make two of them, right? If you cut it in half. Couldn't you? I don't know if the player maybe keeps half of it. I don't know what the rules are of that ping pong ball, but it's actually kind of a neat idea.
Yeah,
I'm imagining the players with a half a ping pong ball. Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if they put the number on both sides, so just be like a plain white half of a ping pong ball.
Yeah.
So
This
like
was from my draft. Like, yeah, sure it was.
right, yeah.
Or Topps kept both sides, and the 16 goes into one of their nicer products or whatever the number is, and then the black one goes into like flagship or something like a couple years down the road.
One of the reasons I want to talk about this though is Topps and Fanatics have been showing like a lot of innovation, coming up with some really cool cards, but they're all these hard to get lottery ticket 1-of-1 cards. When are you going to come out with some cool stuff for the other sets, for the regular collector? Maybe some cool insert cards. I'm thinking late 90s, some interesting stuff you can make and put in packs that maybe I could pull one every like 4 boxes and it would be cool. And I'd be happy to get it as a collector. Just everything is focused toward making every product they put out a lottery and trying to win the big prize. This is the latest example. They're doing a
Literally
cool job
a lottery
with that.
ball. Literally a lottery ball.
They're not even trying to hide it
No,
anymore.
they're saying the quiet part out loud, Mike.
They're laughing. Look what we
Where's
did.
the rest for us? What'd you do? Frozen fractors. So you took a refractor and you put a negative number on it and you thought it was something different. Like just a little bit of innovation for the regular guy, the normal collector would be nice. Throw some.
But that doesn't sell. But that doesn't sell. Like that. The bottom line is that they're like we just talked about how much money they're making. They don't care. Like they don't care about us.
But Panini has kabooms and downtowns. Panini has done a good job with some of their inserts with making them,
Those
popular.
case hits.
And Topps really hasn't gotten a hold of that yet. And I feel like they could, but they're so busy trying to figure out how to make that big hit that they don't care about making even a case hit. How nice would it be for like regular Topps to have a really cool case hit of a popular thing that people might like?
You went exactly where I was going to go, Mike. You know, as much as we shit on Panini, and we do, the kabooms are more for us. I think kabooms are more like our 90s Prism style, right, cards. So I kind of like those. The downtowns are hideous, but people love them. You know, people that are not us love those downtowns. I already said if a pit player in their draft pick set had it's called an on campus, it's the college version of downtown, I totally would get that because it had probably the Cathedral of Learning, it would have Acrisure Stadium, whatever. So it'd be a very cool Pittsburgh thing. When this debut patch stuff came out, and I'm going to steal your terminology, Mike, we gave them their flowers for that, right? Like we said, this is really cool. This is really innovative. I'm so glad they're doing something like this. But they just refuse to do it for normal cards. They're not innovating. They're innovating the high end, but they're not coming down here where even a case hit is a huge hit. 1 in 12 boxes in most cases, right? Like that is a huge hit. I just had a friend of the channel. I don't know if he follows this, but J Bob's on Twitter. He bought a box of Star Trek cards, hoping to get a one every other case hit. And I'm like, chances of him hitting that are pretty slim. But if he does, I'll be pretty pissed because I passed on that box. I almost bought that box. But there was actually a legit possibility he could have hit it because 1 every 2 cases is not that crazy. With Topps, it's either you get, it's in every pack or it's 1 in 2 million packs. Like there's no in between. And there might be some really cool stuff. EP, you open up more baseball than I do, but it really does seem like there's no middle ground with them.
Yeah, I mean, they do like they have case hits and stuff, but it's not even close to the same. Like, it doesn't have the same. People don't get like all worked up over it like they do with the downtowns and the kabooms. Like, it's not even close to that, and that would be awesome. And I really hope they do it. I really do. But the bottom line is, I wonder how many people they have thinking about the collector and thinking about that kind of stuff instead of compared to the number of people thinking about what's our next one of one that we can do.
How do we get a ping pong ball into a card?
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. How many of these do you want to print? Oh, just one for everybody. Just one.
All right. Well, we're going to throw this one in the rumor section because we were contacted by somebody that we won't name, but I saw another content creator did a quick video about it because he must have heard about it from somebody too. Apparently, there's a rumor going around that Fanatics may be getting into the repack business, doing something called instant rips, which would be very similar to the Arena Club, where you open a pack virtually and it's a repack and you would get a PSA graded card out of it. I don't have anything to add to this. I don't know if it's true, if it's not true, but we thought since the other content creator we saw did a video about it, we've talked about it a little bit. I mean, sure, I could see them getting into something like this because, how many times have we talked about where else can they get more money on the same card one more time? And here it is. Okay, we're getting our cut of the break. Oh, and guess what? We're going to buy back the card from the person now that won it in the break, and then we're going to throw it into a repack and make even more money on it. So they're adding one more step where they can make money. So I would totally see that as a possibility. I really not comfortable with it and really wish they wouldn't do it. And I hope this isn't a true thing, but maybe that's just me. I don't trust them, but what do you have there?
Galactus, there he is.
That's it. Fanatics is.
I was like, EP as a prop. Let's get it. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
It's they're not just taking a bite out of the apple. They're eating the whole fucking orchard, right? Like
seeds and all.
Seeds and all. They're not stems. They don't care. They're eating everything up. And this is repacks are gambling, whether you love them or not. And I know some people absolutely love them. They will comment below. But they are gambling at the end of the day, just like everything else that Fanatics wants to happen in this hobby is. So if they didn't do this, I'd be like, is Michael Rubin okay? Did something happen? Like, there is no doubt in my mind. Again, I don't even think it's like a hot take to assume that Fanatics will do something to make themselves money at this point. Like, it's just kind of the thing, right? Like, whatever my conspiracy theories about Fanatics were 2 years ago, it's like, that's like lukewarm conspiracy, it's like nothing now. So yes, if there is a way for them to make money on anything, they will do it. And repacks is a really, really great way to shell game money.
They could buy the cards back from the repacks and keep perpetually putting them in repacks.
Oh, you don't want this. You don't want this $100 card that you paid $200 for. We'll give you $75 for it. Yeah, absolutely.
There are already companies out there like that too. I get ads on YouTube all the time for a Pokemon one where you buy packs and they're virtual, and then you could get the real card, but they'll buy them back from you. I could totally see that. They don't even have to send you the card. They give you, 70% or a certain amount of the value. They keep it there. They put it in the next one, sell it again at that. Oh boy, I hate this hobby sometimes.
Rittenhouse, everyone.
This is all allegedly rumors. Like this is not, that hasn't been announced, anything like that. Again, we're just going on rumors and stuff. But let me just walk you through a little scenario here. Let's just say we open up one of our Instapacks and we get a card. It's $100 that we don't want. And they can say, oh, we'll give you $75 for that card or $150 in Fanatics bucks for that card.
Yeah.
And then they're just, oh man, baby. Then they're just churning.
They gave you that first hit for free, right? They gave you the first hit for free. Now you're addicted.
Yep.
Now you're addicted.
Now every pack you open, you're throwing a couple cards in there to make sure to build up your Fanatics cash money. And they're getting literally free cards for their repacks to keep repacking, to keep selling to people for their Fanatics money. And it's just a wonderful, for a business perspective, it's wonderful. From our perspective, it's the grossest thing.
Yeah.
But they're going to monetize it any way they can. And
Yep.
I, like I said, it's a rumor. I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but it's just a rumor. Just dealing in rumors here. One other quick thing I want to get to. This shouldn't be a quick thing, but there was a supposed collector that posted on Facebook that they lost $244,000 in breaks in 2024. And then also said that found out, afterwards that, the breakers that he bought all this stuff from after he stopped, they didn't even reach out to him to see if he was okay. Things were going on. Yeah. No, I'm sorry to be that guy, but no shit, they didn't. But I mean, let's take it at face value. It was on Facebook. We don't know the validity of it, but
take it on Facebook value. Oh no,
I'm sure there are people in situations like these. Maybe it's not that amount of money. My first question is, how do you get to 244 and decide to stop? Like,
right, you gotta round it up to 250 at this point.
250, yeah. So,
as someone who has an ridiculous addictive personality, I'm gonna riff a little bit on this one. So I am, as of 2020-ish, I have self-excluded from the casino. I think I might have told you boys this. Not because I was losing $244,000, but because I was spending so much time there. And like, I would come home at like 9 a.m. on a Saturday, and Rob was like, where the fuck were you at? It's like, oh, I was at the casino. And he's like, well, how'd you do it, Lise? And I'm like, I knock on wood, hand to God, knock on wood, I did pretty well. But again, it was like the time component, because it draws you in, just like breaks do. It draws you in. It's that one hand that you really killed it. It's that one shot that you made that makes you want to go out on the course again. Like, it's that one thing that really gets you there. But I decided to self-exclude for, I think it's a 5-year thing, because I knew especially over COVID, when everything else was shut down, the casino was still running. You know what I mean? So looking at this, I can absolutely see someone getting in deep and just constantly going back to it to try to dig themselves out. And when the part that I read, though, I believe 100% of what he wrote. I believe 100% of it. The part I looked at it and I said, are you a moron? You kind of brought this shit on yourself, was when he said, no one reached out to me after I didn't show up. Was I getting pit bosses texting me and being like, Joe, I haven't seen you at the blackjack tables. Is everything okay? No, they are a business. They are basically a casino of cards. Of course they don't, because they'll have someone fill your spot. That seat is not reserved for me, in memory of Joe Day, hoping that I come back someday and play blackjack. It's just
you haven't been there. It might be.
I haven't been there, so maybe it is. That's actually a really good point. But yeah, I feel bad for folks like this, because they can get in deep. I will say the other last point on this is the way he said, oh, I'm not addicted to anything else. And then he proceeded to say he was in Alcoholics Anonymous. So yeah, you are addicted to alcohol. And he also referred to it as, I've never gotten hooked on the book. anyone who refers to it as the book definitely hooked on sports betting. So yeah, this guy or gal needs to seek some help because they do have an addictive personality beyond just breaking cards, for sure.
Yeah, I want to preface what I'm about to say with their addiction is a problem and it can destroy lives and that sort of stuff. So definitely, I mean, I hope this person gets the help they need, but also it's social media. 244 is probably an inflated number. If it's not, then that's a weird way to flex, my dude. That you have $244,000 you can spend on gambling, and that you actually did.
That's
gamble
actually
breaking.
a really good point.
Like it's a really weird flex, and then to say, "Oh, nobody coming to the back." You're spending $244,000. They think you are like you probably make $1 million a year or something like that. So if you to be able to spend that kind of money, so they don't care.
He
they don't care about you.
Saying, "I'm okay financially." Like
right, exactly.
When I was like, "Oh, what a douche!"
So it's just like a weird flex, and I always feel like when people post stuff like this on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, they just want to get the clicks, and I feel like probably some numbers were inflated, parts of the story were inflated, and then sort of little to feel sorry for me thing at the end about for people not going back to me. It's like, come on, dude, it's just like there's just way too many check boxes on there for me to really believe that. Again, I say addiction's a problem. If you have a addictive personality, you have a problem, please get yourself taken care of.
1-800-GAMBLER.
General story.
1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah. Put the code up there, or the really sped through the detail thing. The story in and of itself could be fake EP, but the actual in general, this is a real thing in the hobby. And as Fanatics continuously puts this towards gambling, I blame them more than I blame the breaker he was buying from, right? Mm-hmm. So as this continues on with Fanatics and them putting that gambling aspect into the hobby, you're going to see more and more of this. It's just bound to happen. Maybe not 244,000, but maybe 24,000, and that to someone could be their life.
Losing their house, losing, definitely. Losing their family, their house, yeah.
And there are other people who probably not at this level that it impacted their lives way more than it impacted this person's life. And like you said, Joe, that's exactly the point. More and more it's going to happen because this is what Fanatics is making the hobby. Look what you can pull. Look at this 1-of-1. Look at this lottery ticket.
We'll give you Fanatics credit.
We'll give you Fanatics credit. It was funny when we did the financial numbers. I didn't show their betting was only like 300,000 or something like that. Maybe it was 300 million, but it was 300 million. But I was like, shouldn't they kind of be combined together, the collectibles and the gambling? Because they really are the same thing. And like you see it more and more, and it affects people's lives. And again, I don't know what the long-term plan is for an industry that used to be about collecting that is just diving so hard into the gambling aspect of it. I'm just an old guy yelling at the clouds, but hard time believing that it's sustainable for a long period of time.
I just had a revelation. Imagine in the future, people betting on breaks. They're not even buying the cards, but they're just betting on what's going to be in the break. Like I could totally see it happening. Integrate that into it. Like that.
Stop, shut up, man. Ruben watches our stuff.
He does, yeah.
Dude, you just gave him $1 billion idea, you son of a bitch.
EP was already texting with him. He told him about that.
He's like, as soon as he thought of it.
Ruben's ready to launch it next month. Yeah.
I shit my pants. That actually happened.
Might, you never know. Drew Brees was talking about Katrina and stuff on what show was that on, Joe?
It was on Colbert.
Yeah,
we talked about Drew Brees being undervalued, and he's on Colbert. I'm like, why?
Colbert just gets on our show. He's like, hey, get Drew Brees on our show. Yeah,
it's Colbert's writers and
we're gonna fix this.
People. Yeah. Oh my god, crazy.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully next week we'll have something a little more positive to talk about. This was a rough one. Yeah,
they got some vodka here.
People talk about
another one for our next show.
Content creators doing negative content. There was a lot of negative stuff going on this weekend. Let me just tell you, I don't know about you guys, but by the time we get to the end of a podcast like this, when we're doing that, I feel drained. I honestly do. This is draining. So. Hopefully there'll be better
Fanatics, so we didn't have to really dig for stories this week, I guess.
Yeah, cool, I guess.
Jesus, brutal.
But
brutal.
I think we've said it all. Other than that, I don't know. Pretty good chat this week, and I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.